I typically drink single malt Scotch and have avoided the big name blenders. But today, I am drinking 5 expressions from Johnnie Walker blended Scotch. Let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. If you're new here, I'm Kevin, and thank you so much for stopping by and watching this episode. Today I have a very special episode, something I don't normally do, which is drink blended whiskey from a big name brand. This big name brand is Johnnie Walker, and they're one of the largest blended whiskey makers, and they're owned by Diageo, which is one of the largest distributors of alcohol in the world. So this does qualify as a very big brand. Now, I have nothing against buying blended whiskey. I just didn't want to buy 5 or 6 bottles of Johnnie Walker because I don't think I'd get through it all. It's not my go-to whiskey, so I didn't want to have them around in my cabinet. But I did want to do a proper tasting and compare them against each other, which is why tasting sets like this are so wonderful. If you can find these in whiskey stores, they're great. This set cost me $60, and at the same shop, these 5 bottles as 750 milliliter bottles would have cost me over $535. And again, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying anything bad about blended whiskey or big name Scotch brands out there. That's fine. Everyone should drink what they enjoy. Everyone should enjoy the whiskey the way they like to drink it. You want ice, you want water, you want neat. It doesn't matter. It's all good. But these expressions are all at 40% ABV, and I rarely buy 80 proof whiskey, which is another reason why I don't run out and grab some of these types of big name blends. Now there are exceptions. I do buy 40% ABV Irish whiskey, which usually is pot stilled, and I do like the flavors and expressions that they offer in that particular 80 proof level. I still would wish they're a little bit higher proof, but you get what you get when you want to get the flavors that you want to buy. Now the other problem with 40% ABV is these are all chill filtered. And also because it's a big brand that wants to make sure that their bottles look the same all the time, I'm sure each one of these has a number of tweaks using E150A caramel coloring just to make sure every expression looks consistent as the bottles sit on the many shelves around the world. All right, I'm going to crack open this pack. I'm going to start with the one that's at the left side of it, the lowest priced. Lowest price in this pack. There is also a Johnnie Walker core expression that's a red, and that is not in this kit. There's also a few other ones that aren't in this kit, but it's still a pretty good sampling of their expressions, and it's the kit I could buy. Now for each of these, as I said, they're at 40% ABV, every single bottle. There's 5 bottles here, all at 50 milliliters each, which allows me to have a couple tastes for each. I like to do a little bit of a bigger pour, so 25 milliliters is probably the minimum that I go when I pour a whiskey into a glass. Let's start out with the Johnnie Walker Black, which is a well-known whiskey from them. It's their 12-year whiskey, and it has a little bit of peatiness, a little bit of smokiness to it. It's priced at $35 at my local shop. There's cheaper prices for it at other places, I'm sure. And the red, I think, is more like at the $25 range. So this is a step up from that lowest end. This blend leans into the smoky, peaty distilleries out there like Lagavulin, Talisker, Cardhu, and I've done reviews of a lot of these whiskeys, and I'll put links for all those in my description below. So let me get a glass and pop the cork. Oh, sorry, it's a screw top. There's also nothing wrong with screw tops on whiskey. Whiskey can have screw tops and be just fine. It actually seals well, so you don't have any problems with the vapors escaping. The problem is that it doesn't look as classy, so a lot of the higher end whiskeys are going to have corks. Unfortunately, these little bottles don't give us quite the dramatic look on the video camera, but let's see how the nose and the taste is as far as drama goes. Definitely has that smoky, peaty note. A little bit of citrus in there, some vanilla. I can even get a bit of apple mixed in with the citrus notes. It is definitely a peaty experience, but I'm also getting a metallic finish on it. There is a bit of sweetness, maybe just like toffee sweetness, nothing dramatic as far as fruit flavors go. And the finish is spicy, but not too long. And I am still getting that metallic taste at the end, which turns me off right away. Up next, we have the Johnnie Walker Double Black. Now this is the younger, more aggressive sibling to the Johnnie Walker Black. It doesn't have an age statement on it. It's, again, 40% ABV. It's smoky and peaty, but it's supposed to be more aggressive with some of the flavors. This is the Johnnie Walker Black that has been cast again in a very heavily charred barrel. And I seem to have poured more than 25 milliliters on this one, so I hope I like it. Younger, more aggressive. That's an interesting note for this. And yes, it does smell very similar, but I'm getting a little bit of tire store notes in this one. And not as fruity or citrusy as the original black. And it is more aggressive. It is spiky. There's a bite to it. I can definitely taste that all over my mouth. The finish is a little bit longer. And actually, because it's more aggressive, the finish isn't giving me that metallic taste. So I actually like it better than the black. I didn't expect that. Non-age statement doesn't mean worse. Non-age statement just means different. So it really doesn't matter what age is on the bottle. Pick the one that you like to taste. The peat and the smoke really take over with this one. So if you like the peaty, smoky edge of whiskeys, this one is actually better than the black. I am getting less fruit flavors with this one, less sweetness, but I'm also not getting that metallic finish. So I will take this one every day over the original black, and it's only $10 more. It's $45. Next up, the Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve. Now, this one is not going to be peaty and smoky, according to the reviews I've read. It is going to be more honeyed, more sweet, because it's embodying the Speyside and Highland whiskeys more. There's a hint of peat to it, according to some, because it's also using Clynelish in there as one of the expressions. You get a glass and find out how smoky that little edge is, or if we're dealing with a very sweet Highland Scotch. The gold label is a little more expensive at $60, and that makes sense. If you're going to call something gold, you're going to charge a little bit more for the price. But again, $60 at 40% ABV, starting to get a little touchy there. And the nose is very different. Woo! Yeah, lots of peat, lots of smoke on these. And on this one, very much floral and honey and sweetness, maybe some wood spice notes. Definitely much different experience. And the peat and smoke in this is really, really mild. Just a tiny bit down there, especially after trying the double black. This tastes a lot more mild. But again, on this one, I'm starting to get that metallic taste on the back of my mouth. And I don't like that as the finish. Doesn't seem like a very long finish either. It's hard to get some fruity notes out of this. I'm just getting so much metal in the taste. I really can't appreciate the whiskey. And I think that's at the 40% level that is really causing this to fall down. I don't know, so far, I'm really more of a fan of the double black. I think it has a bit more of an edge to it. Gives you something for that 40% ABV. Makes you feel like, well, there's some flavors here. There's something I can chew into. And I just don't think the gold expression is that tasty. Next up is the 18-year. Now, this one's priced even more expensive. It's at $115 at my local shop. This is a balance of flavors from several 18-year whiskeys, and they're very select about what goes into this expression. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more flavor, a little bit more taste, and maybe avoid that little metallic finish to it. The primary distilleries for this bottle are Blair Athol, Cardew, Glenelgin, and Achuras. Probably butchered that last name. I have no idea. That's not a brand that I'm used to or know of. Ooh, okay. Well, that is very different. This is a very different whiskey expression from all the rest. I'm getting sweeter notes in there. I'm getting some spices. It's like a baked apple pie to me. That's a very sweet, very nice nose. I can really appreciate this nose over all the rest. And it actually makes me look forward to tasting this one. So let's do it. Now this 18-year has some nice warming effect to my mouth. A little bit longer finish than the rest. Yeah, it's a decent finish, so a moderate finish. All the rest have been very short. Not as sweet on the taste as it is on the nose. More baking spices on the taste, wood spice, and not as much depth as I wanted. But I do like it better than the rest. I will say that the 18 has some interesting points. It's not giving me that metallic finish. It's giving me a nice spicy finish. And I love the nose on it. It's a very, very pleasant nose. I don't know if it's worth $115 or whatever you're paying for it, but it definitely has some benefits over the rest. On to the final expression. This is the Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Blue Label is the most expensive of the group. In fact, the $280 price tag for the full bottle of this is definitely more than half the cost of all these together. Time to pour this in a glass because I've heard good things. This blend is a marriage of ultra-rare stock from extinct Diageo distilleries around Scotland, and that's why it's so expensive. You take whiskeys that you can no longer get, you stick them in a bottle, and suddenly you're going to pay for that. Let's see if the nose makes it worth it. The nose on the blue is most reminiscent of the black. Taste better not be reminiscent, or we've just wasted a lot of money. Well, we have wasted a lot of money. This was a $60 stet, but if I was buying the full bottle and it tasted similar to the black, I'd be very disappointed. Okay, I do like the flavor better than the black. It's a lot creamier. There's that smoky, peaty edge to it still, but it is more complex. The finish isn't very long. I thought the finish on the gold was much longer than this, but I do like the smoky flavor profile. I don't know if it's worth the price though. Yeah, there's some dried fruits in there. There's definitely smoke and peat. There's a lot of wood spice, but it's not giving me much of a finish. It's like all settled in my mouth and spicy and nice, but that it ends there. It's not metallic though, so we'll give it points for that. I just don't know if I want to spend that much more for the blue than I would the rest. It's cool to get rare out of stock, it's cool to get rare out of circulation whiskeys blended in one bottle, but I don't know if I'm appreciating this. I have some $200 plus whiskeys that I will take before this every day of the week, twice on Sunday. I really shouldn't drink twice on Sunday. It's right before the work week, but you know, it's an expression. What are your thoughts about the blue? Do you like it? Is it worth so much more than the rest of these? I read a review that was raving about it, but I think they also had the qualifier of, it's good, but that price, that's painful. So, in conclusion, what would I do with these? Well, first of all, I'm very glad that I didn't buy full bottles because these are just not my kind of whiskey. That doesn't mean they're bad, it just means it's not what I like. And if I was looking for just an inexpensive, smoky, peaty whiskey, I would definitely look at the double black. I think that's very nice. I still don't like that it's at 40% ABV. That's kind of a deal breaker for me, even at an inexpensive price, because I can get some inexpensive priced whiskeys that are at least 43% ABV, and most of them are 46. So I would definitely head towards those before I'd head towards these, but maybe there's something about these that I'm missing, and maybe there's a reason that you choose Johnnie Walker over some of the other brands out there. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Give me your thoughts, give me your comments, and educate me a little bit about the reasons for buying this kind of blended whiskey. I do know that there's a lot of blended whiskeys out there that I would recommend as a first-time whiskey for people that just aren't used to drinking Scotch, but I tend to go towards the Compass Box or for the inexpensive line, or for the inexpensive end of it, maybe Monkey Shoulder, because I think those are very approachable whiskeys. I just don't know if there's anything here that I would recommend to anybody. I think there's just better things, in my opinion, for getting people interested in whiskey. I certainly wouldn't want them to think of a whiskey with a metallic finish as the ideal whiskey. And maybe you're not getting that metallic finish. Maybe that's just on my palate. I'd like to hear about that too in the comments. As always, new experiences are great, and I appreciate that you stuck around for this video. I'm certainly glad I spent the $60 on the tasting set, and I would highly recommend that if you're looking at a brand of whiskey and there's an offering of some sort of tasting set where you can taste multiple expressions. Glenmorangie does this, several others do. Glenlivet, I believe, Glenfiddich does it all the time. Try those out because it gives you a nice, quick impression of what you're going to get and maybe lead you to buying a full bottle. Out of this set, I think I enjoyed the double black the most of all, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off with the most expensive expression in this one, the blue. And until next episode, take care of yourself. Take care of those people around you. And cheers.